Okay, we're back again. It froze up on us here. Luckily, it froze up right in this question. All right, so number 8, they had to rewrite without radicals on bottom. So we had 2 over 1 plus radical 5. We times the top and the bottom by the conjugate of the bottom. The conjugate of 1 plus radical 5 is 1 minus radical 5. Remember, conjugate's kind of like the opposite. But all you do is change the sign in between them, okay? So we times the top and the bottom by 1 minus radical 5. So we take 2 times 1 minus radical 5. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times radical 5 is negative 2 radical 5. On bottom, you can FOIL it out. You can. You don't need to, though. Okay? We just have to do our first and our last when they're conjugates. Our first, 1 times 1 is 1. Our last, a positive radical 5 times a negative radical 5. A positive times a negative is a negative. Radical 5 times radical 5 is radical 25. Radical 25 is just 5. So we have 2 minus 2 radical 5 over 1 minus 5. Well, 1 minus 5 is negative 4. So 2 minus 2 radical 5 over negative 4. I would accept that answer. You can simplify it, though. What goes into 2, 2, and 4? 2 does. 2 goes in your once. 2 goes in your once. 2 goes in your twice. That's a better answer. I would accept that answer, though, okay? Because all I ask is get the radicals off the bottom, okay? All right. These next 3, you got to knock these out of the park real fast. These should take a total of 15 seconds total for all 3 of them, I would say. You got to remember what a radical graph looks like, though. Radical x plus 2. In case you forgot, y equals radical x looks simply like this. A very quick rough graph looks sort of like that. Okay? So this plus 2, here's what you do. Go up 2, there's your graph, done. That's all you do. You can't miss that. Radical y equals radical x minus 3. Well, that minus 3, it's with the x. We've been doing this since last September, okay? It moves it left or right, the opposite of what you think. You think left 3, it actually moves it 3 to the right. Looks sort of like that. Number 11. Y equals radical x plus 1 minus 4. Well, this minus 4 moves it down 4. Don't put a dot there yet, though, because that plus 1 with the x moves it 1 to the left. Put your dot right there. Go 1 left, 4 down. Try your graph like that. You got to be able to get those, guys. Those are easy ones. Okay. On the back, number 12. Okay, 12 through 16 we're solving. Okay, so radical 3x plus 10 equals 8. We have to get the radical gone. So the way you get over radicals, you square both sides. These destroy each other, so you have 3x plus 10 equals 8 squared, which is 64, not 16. It's not 8 times 2. It's 8 times itself, which is 64. Subtract 10. 3x equals 64 minus 10, which is 54. Divided by 3. X is 54 divided by 3. I don't expect you to know that. You can use a calculator. It turns out to be 18. Okay? 13. Cube root of x and minus 10 equals negative 7. We got to get the radical by itself. We have to get rid of the minus 10 by adding 10. So we do that. We have the cube root of x equals negative 7 plus 10, which is 3. The way you get rid of square roots, we square each side. The way we get rid of cube roots, we cube each side. Cube this side, these cancel. X is 3 to the third, which is not 9. It's not 3 times 3, it's 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. Okay, whoops, not 15. Used to doing odds with you guys. 14. Okay, I have 8 cube root of 10x minus 15 equals 17, I think it says. Yep. Okay, we got to get our radical by itself, so let's get rid of this minus 15 first by adding 15. To do that, we have 8 cube root of 10x equals 15 plus 17, which is 32. We have to get rid of this 8, not by subtracting, but by dividing, because 8 radical means 8 times radical, so we divide by 8. So we have these cancel. The cube root of 10x equals 32 divided by 8, which is 4. And then the way you go to the cube root, we cube each side. These cancel each other. We have 10x equals 4 cubed, which is not 4 times 3. It's 4 times 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Times 4 is 64. Divided by 10. 64 divided by 10 is 6.4. Yes, it's a decimal, but we didn't have decimals till the very, very end, so it's not like you worked with decimals throughout the entire problem. Okay, plus we're just dividing by 10. That's easy. Just move the decimal. 2 more. Last 2 are a little bit tougher. Okay? So we have x minus 10 equals radical 9x. What's more difficult about this is you have an x on each side. It's quite a bit tougher. Plus, if you remember, you got to check your answers. We don't have to check our answers on these because we didn't have an x on each side. These ones, you got to check your answers when you're done. So the radical's by itself, so we square this side and we square all of this side. X minus 10 squared means x minus 10 times x minus 10 equals, these cancel, we're left with 9x. FOIL this out, first terms are x times x, that's x squared. Outers are x times negative 10, that's a negative 10x. My inners are also negative 10 times x. My last is negative 10 times negative 10, which is a positive 100, equals 9x. Okay, I'm going to combine like terms here. So we have x squared, negative 20x plus 100 equals 9x. And if you remember, this has to equal 0. It's second degree. Has to equal 0. So get rid of that 9x. We do that. We have x squared, negative 20 minus 9 more is negative 29x plus 100. Okay. We factor two sets of parentheses. X squared is x and x. We ignore our middle. We look at our last. Our last is the positive. So it's either positive, positive or negative, negative. Well, we got to get negative somehow, so negative, negative. How do you times to 100? A bunch of ways. 1 in 100, 2 in 50, 4 times 25, 5 times 20, 10 times 10. They have to add to 29. So we want 4 and 25. So it looks like our answers are positive 4 and positive 25. I say it looks like it. Okay? Let's check. We've got to check our answers at the very beginning. So let's get rid of this square here. If I was to plug in 25, 25 minus 10 is 15. If I plug in 25 here, 9 times 25, 9 quarters is 225. Use a calculator to find the square root of 225, it is 15, so that's good. 25 is good. Let's check 4. 4 minus 10 is negative 6. Plug in 4 here, 9 times 4 is 36. Radical 36 is positive 6, not negative 6. So that one's no good. So it's only 25. Okay? One more question. A much easier one. 15 is the toughest one on the test, far and away the toughest one. 16 is not bad at all. So we have radical 3x minus 3 equals, not equals, minus radical x plus 12 equals 0. Well, we have two radicals here. So here's what we're going to do. We want to get them on opposite sides. So I'm going to add radical x plus 12 here and add radical x plus 12 here. If we do that, these cancel. We have radical 3x minus 3 equals radical x plus 12. And then we have a radical on each side, just square both sides. We got to check our answers. There's an x on each side. We will check our answers, so square each side. These cancel, 3x minus 3 equals, these cancel, x plus 12. I'm going to subtract x to each side. 3x minus x is 2x, minus 3 is 12. Add 3 to each side. 2x equals, these cancel, 12 and 3 is 15. Divide by 2. X is 15 divided by 2, which is 7.5. Okay? I plug in 7.5 back here. Before I square it, 3 times 7.5, you could use a calculator, is, what is that, 23.5 minus 3 is 20.5. The square root of 20.5, which I have no idea what that is. That's okay. Plug in 7. Wait a minute, no it's not. 3 times 7.5 is 21, 22.5. 22.5 minus 3 is 19.5. I plug in 7.5 here. 7.5 plus 12 is 19.5. I don't know what the square root of 19.5 is, but I know it equals the square root of 19.5. These are the same, so therefore that is the right answer. Okay? All right, so really I think all of the I don't think this test is really that bad, except for numbers 15. 15 is a tough one, okay? So, all right, again, you have until next Tuesday to study for this thing. Okay? I don't say you have to study for the next week every single day, but you know, you do have potentially 8 days you can study for this thing, so don't show up on Tuesday and like, oh man, I forgot to study. If you have questions, email me and I'll get back with you.